Well, hey guys, welcome to Tavern Talk. We are here to talk about the aftermath of our last session and talk about possible things that are going to happen without giving too much away. But I'm here. My name is Phoenix, and I'm here with the whole crew. Say hi, crew.
Hi, crew.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi, crew.
strange person beyond the screen.
Well, as I said, come on in, have a seat, and we are going to start real soon. So let's wait for that transition period. There we go. Hi. As you guys can notice, there's a few differences in Tavern Talk. We are updating everything and getting everything set up, and the only thing that we really need to edit are those two morons up in the top corner in the middle.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Nope.
But on that note, hold on a second. Hey, could you guys back there quiet down? We're trying to record.
No.
Hey, they listened. Sweet. So they're gone. We want to welcome in our special co-host tonight, and that's Jeb. Or is it Jeb or Jed?
It's Jan.
Jayed. Okay. So yeah. So anyways, Jed is here to give us a kind of a recall on our last adventure that we just had, the craziness that ensued. But who better to explain it than the gossip guy, Jayed.
Well, what you want to know? All it cost you is a beer.
Well, I think that one gold piece is enough. First of all, and second of all, you've got your nose to the ground. You got your ear to the ground, right? So you know about our last adventure, right?
I couldn't hear there. You need to speak up there a bit.
I said. Oh, anyways.
No, you have to understand that none of that went through. We just saw you with your tongue out.
Really?
All we saw was
Yeah.
all I heard.
Wow.
All I heard was I said.
Yeah, and then you were like,
You know what? I can edit it out in post. No, not really. I'm going to keep it like it is. So, anyways, Jed, please tell us about our adventure so far for this coming session.
What do you want me to say? I'll sit in a bar all day long.
Fine. I need Zombie back here. Zombie, please give us an update.
What do you want to know?
Oh my gosh.
I've been away for a minute. There's why does my seat smell like beer?
Well, we'll talk about that in another episode, but could you just give us a recap of our last D&D session?
People talked.
And then what?
People talked.
More people talked.
And then what?
People walked.
A lot of walking, actually.
A lot of walking.
A lot of walking. You know what didn't happen? Fighting. At all.
Did ya?
You know,
He
Zombie
went
said, like, he was going to bring us back together, and by goodness, he did. You know?
Yep.
So, you know what?
Okay.
Fine. I was going to say, if you don't want to do it, go ahead.
In all seriousness,
I'll eat my ribs.
so your ribs should stay in your chest.
Not if they're pork ribs.
he's recycling.
I would
Eats his
I would
ribs,
know a
his
thing or
ribs
two
go
about
back.
eating ribs.
No, none of that. So the party was split at the beginning of the session. My main goal was to get them back together. Because, what's every adventurer's favorite thing? Splitting the party. Everybody loves it. It's a great time, guaranteed for laughs and hijinks all around.
Oh, that's sarcasm. My bad.
At least we didn't die.
I thought I was laying it on thick enough that people would.
I didn't catch it at first, but then I realized it's sarcasm. I got it.
I'll apparently need to go a little bit stronger with the sarcasm sauce. Got it.
Yeah.
So we kind of had 3 different things going for a while. We had Phoenix back in the Feywild Village #1.
Still no name for it, but hey.
Still no name for it. Because at this point, why bother?
We're almost out.
I just lost my train of thought. He was talking to his patron Mirabelle about trying to get back the missing perception that was given away. That
Stolen.
He just freely gave.
Stole.
No, given.
Really gave.
Because it wasn't stolen from you. You gave it away.
I did. And how would you know, Wolf? You weren't there.
Context.
I was like, maybe she listened to it.
Yeah, right.
Context.
I don't know.
All right. Honestly, did you listen to it?
Yes,
No, you did not.
I did.
Oh, well, look at that.
Then why did you ask? Why did you ask what happened?
Yeah,
And then I gave you that
That's
sick
okay.
burn.
that was a good burn. Anyways.
So Mirabelle told him there are 3 methods. 1, get the person who stole it to give it back. 2,
Kill him.
do the same thing to somebody else.
No.
Or 3, convince, earn a boon. And
Yes.
the only way she could give you a boon is if you could convince your entire party to permanently move to the Feywild. Now you have the idea of what if I could convince an equal number of people of equal or greater strength to move as well.
Yes.
Instead, and she accepted.
Now, let me
So
ask
you
you a
have
question real quick. Did you think I was going to ask a question like that, to be honest? Okay, well, I was wanting to see if I caught you off guard, is all I was wondering.
No, I mean not with something like that.
Okay. All right, continue.
No. Anyways.
No, you have to loot a casket to catch him off guard.
Yes. I mean, it takes at least
You're
looting.
supposed to be cleaning.
So we then jumped to
Just FYI,
Blade.
I did catch him off guard when I got his character to have to go with us. Just so you know. Anyways, sorry. Go ahead. Don't look at me though with those eyes. I'm sorry. I'll let you go. I'll let you do your thing. I will mute myself. Go.
So we then moved to Blaze and Ignis, who were back in Feywild Village #2, dealing with Ignis's upcoming nuptials. That's right, Kitty. That's right. Surprised you didn't hear that. I was really loud.
I heard it. I heard it.
Music's very faint.
So they ended up talking to her brother and found out that basically what had happened was, both of them fell through a crack in the worlds and ended up in the Feywild. Through sheer bad luck, the brother ended up pretty much permanently bound to someone and in the Feywild, to where he cannot leave. His sister, being a bit more intelligent and quick on the updraw, played dumb, or
Crazy.
yeah, several cans, 6 cans short of a 6-pack, basically. And pretty much made everybody distance themselves from her, so she didn't draw too much attention. But they both knew that she couldn't remain because it was only a matter of time before her little charade was discovered. So, hence the deception. They talked, they got the story, and then they waited for her to come back. We jumped to Ayla and Hydralis, who were walking back to Feywild Village number 1 together because they were the last two to leave the little lake. They made camp for the evening, where Hydralis started to realize that something was changing. And long story short, he was beginning to feel the initial effects of breaking his oath. And the oath breaker subclass basically was starting to work its way towards him. We ended with them before we went back to Phoenix with Hydralis basically making some type of prayer or oath to the more primal aspect of himself. We then switched back to Phoenix, where Phoenix finished his conversation with his patron, Mirabelle, or otherwise known as the Gossamer Queen. And worked his way to the tavern for a drink, where he met up with Lacridus, who was also there, just enjoying a drink. And they started talking for a bit, where he basically convinced Lacridus to share her entire story.
Yeah.
Would you like to share her story?
Well,
or do you want me to share it or what?
I mean, you could share it, but I really want to talk about that blade later too.
Okay. So, for those that are curious, Lacridus was the character that helped him out several times. She was the one that was basically told to help them out in finding their way to their destination, to the script. And she did that. She initially gave them a map and pretty much said, "Here you go, I'm out," when the little infighting started.
And I was like, no.
Through Phoenix's convincing, he convinced her to at least accompany them to the destination and help them out. She agreed. She did. She didn't follow them into the crypt, but she stayed outside and kind of watched their back and make sure no enemies snuck up on them. Now, you may also remember that she took part in the Time Vault episode as well. But the story that she shared, so she is a white dragonborn. And I will just kind of read off her backstories as she told her pretty much her life story to Phoenix.
Right.
So, like I said, she's a dragonborn. She didn't know her clan. She knows that her egg, like all white dragonborn, was supposed to be hatched in the cold mountains. That obviously never happened. Before her memory, her egg was stolen. Like the brother and sister, a rift between the worlds opened up, and something from the Feywild reached through and snatched her egg. She was born beneath stars that change as quickly as the moods of anybody who changes moods quickly. So, see, she was born beneath stars that change their patterns nightly, her cries echoing across frost-covered mushroom groves and luminous silver reefs. A passing Fey mariner, part of a mist flotilla that sailed the shifting rivers and mirrored oceans of the Feywild, discovered her abandoned in a drifting lotus cradle of ice. The crew adopted her. They didn't care what she was. They cared who she was. They named her Lacridus, raised her on deck, taught her how to tie knots, climb rigging, spot a lie, and hold her drink. Though the last one was a losing battle most of the evenings. From the moment she could walk, she worked, scrubbing planks, coiling ropes, navigating star maps that changed like moods. And when the day's work was done, she played hard, drank deep, laughed louder, and told stories. Tales with just enough to dazzle and just enough lies to delight. Her captain, a changeling woman named Tessaline, became the closest thing she had to a mother. Sail for people, not flags, was what she told her. A ship souls its crew, not its cause. Those words became her code. They were hunting a ghost ship said to hold a Fey Queen's stolen mask. Dangerous work for even a realm of talking storms and time-slick tides. The crew was prepared for curses, but they weren't prepared for pirates. Twisted Fey corsairs, hollow-eyed and laughing, struck in silence and moonlight. The attack was brutal, swift and personal. Her captain died first trying to protect the helm. Her crew was butchered. Their ship, the Glass Current, was set ablaze with green flame. Lacridus fought until her claws bled, but in the end she was cast into the waves, left for the water and the winter stars. She should have died. Instead, the Feywild refused to let her go.
All right.
Washed up.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Not to interrupt you. Now this is the part where he's going to get into a certain thing that like we touched on in the episode, and it's about her blade, and
Correct.
just the way the blade is like this, like just told about is pretty awesome. Like I wish I could have thought that much ahead about it, like a bow or something. Like that was really cool thinking right there. So go ahead and tell this real quick, and then we'll get back to.
She washed up on a snow white shore, barely breathing, clinging to a broken length of mast. The wind whispered many things, her name, and something older, something deeper. There, buried half in starlit frost, was a sword unlike she'd ever seen. Long, black as void, rimmed in a shimmer like frostbite on steel. It pulsed not with heat, but with a cold that remembered. When she touched it, the voice entered her mind, but was not cruel. It was grieving. It knew loss. It knew rage. It offered power not to control her, but to share in the fury of betrayal. She said yes. The bond was sealed. Her breath now froze the air around her. Her strikes became silent as the midnight tide. She could call the blade to her hand with a whisper, and it knew her anger like an old friend. She became a warlock, forged not by fate, but by loss and survival.
So yeah, the blade's description is so cool. I really like it. I love that the blade actually gave you the powers of the Hexblade Warlock.
Well, that's what the Hexblade Warlock is.
Oh.
Your patron isn't a being, it's a blade.
A theme.
I mean, that's yeah. I mean, it's typically described as a somewhat sentient blade or blade-like thing that you gain your power from.
Yeah.
Rather than like an archfey or a demon or some great old one.
Yeah. So to wrap up the rest, basically, quicker, because hey, we want to get to some of the meat of the stuff too. And bless you, by the way.
You told me to share the story.
I did. But so we talked about this, and I found it funny that the person I spent the least amount of time with, I opened up to first. Like I felt like I did that as it was great the way that happened, and we'll get into this a little bit later. But anyways, after that, tell us a little, about what happened last.
Yeah, so basically it ended with Ignis getting married to your sale, where she basically, they found out that she was more concerned with the letter of the agreement as to the spirit of it. But her main thing with her and her brothers was mainly take her back to the material plane when you go. That was kind of the main thing. The party agreed. She even said that, look, you can divorce me now if you want. Although if you don't, that's fine as well.
She's like, I can do things.
That has yet to be determined, but they did agree to take her back to the material plane when they went. To that regard, when Blaze and Ignis left, she went with them. So she traveled with them to back to Feywild Village number 1. Now, to Hydralis and Ayla, they awoke to a stranger in their camp, cooking bacon and eggs and tea. Hydralis instantly recognized who this was as Uldath.
Sorry.
Stop.
I can't. You already think it now, too. I'm just saying. Anyways.
No, I don't. I think of the character's name because that's the character's name.
Okay.
Uldath is the herald of the spirit of nature, to which Hydralis has already met, wherein she basically told, yes, I know, I hear you.
I heard her too.
She's apparently very vocal. Apparently she can see a small sliver of the bottom of her food bowl.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know, I'm such a bad caretaker. She said basically that nature had heard his oath and will hold him to it. But this is his one and only second chance. That both Fluetta and Darkness are unhappy with the results of this outcome.
Mm-hmm.
They too worked their way back to Feywild Village number 1, where they went their separate ways initially. Ayla went to a library, and Hydralis went to go pay his debt to the innkeeper. He was given the tools and supplies to repair the window and the cracks in the walls and stuff like that of that damage, and then finish out the rest of the day in the tavern, delivering drinks, lifting barrels, standard, work. It was here that Hydralis and Phoenix met, or they saw each other and had a good old-fashioned chinwag.
Yeah, and it was not violent.
No, it was not a violent chinwag.
Yep.
It was just a chinwag.
That's right.
So it was kind of there that everybody kind of came back in. Everybody kind of returned to the tavern, seeing each other. Ayla returned for dinner. Blaze and Ignis and your sale entered. And the party was finally all back together again. Some people kind of had a moment where they kind of shared bits of themselves, kind of bonded a little bit. But like I said, the main thing was I wanted to bring everybody back together.
Yep. And here we are.
That's where we ended.
Yep. So first things first, I want to get this out of the way because it's been killing me ever since you said something to me earlier today.
You're going to say all the words inside your head?
No. Yes, that's it. I want to know what the ring does.
Okay. I left it open just for this.
Yes, I need to know, and I think I can speak for everybody else. Am I correct in that? Besides Raven, because Raven already knows.
So, I will say, Raven, you have it on you, but you have not put it on, correct?
Correct.
Okay, because that is important. So, the ring is no longer just a ring of jumping, as everybody probably could have guessed.
Yeah.
You attach a ring of jumping to the bottom of a dagger that is siphoning power off of a star that has been forced into a physical body whose power is being siphoned away. It's bound to have an effect. The fact that the ring just didn't go boom is a miracle. So, the ring is now called Ring of the Broken Ascent. It's still a ring. It is a legendary item that requires attunement. Its abilities are as follows. Leap of Grace at will. While wearing this ring, you are constantly under the effects of the jump spell, without needing concentration. Your jumps glow with silvery light, and you always land softly as if gravity forgets you for a moment.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Now, that does not give you Featherfall.
Yeah.
It's just for that jump, you kind of land just a little bit slower. So, the next ability, Heaven's Bound. This is once per short rest. As a bonus action, you may leap up to 90 feet in any direction, even across the air. When you land, you choose one of the following actions. Radiant Shockwave. All creatures within 10 feet take 4d8 radiant damage, dex save 16 for half. Or Soothing Descent. Allies within 10 feet are healed 3d6 hit points and cured of frightened and charmed conditions.
Oh my gosh.
The last ability, Light of a Dying Star. You gain resistance to radiant damage. Once per day, when you fall to 0 hit points, you instead remain at 1 hit point and release a radiant pulse that blinds enemies within 10 feet until the end of your next turn.
Oh wow.
Now, the downside. Soul Burn. Anytime you use Heaven's Bound or Light of the Dying Star, you take 1d6 psychic damage and must make a DC 14 Wisdom save or suffer a Vision of the Fall. The Vision of the Fall is this. You lose your reaction until the end of your turn. On a failure by 5 or more, you are stunned until the end of your current turn.
Oh wow.
You experience a flash of the child's pain, the painful torture, the screams, the chains, the silence, and the desperate call for help. The last thing, Walking Dreams. The wearer occasionally receives dreams and visions of the Celestials' pain and memories, usually flashes of chains, singing stars, or voices calling from beyond the void.
Man, as good as that ring sounds, I don't want to put it on. It's got some really good stuff.
And so I guess this is where I kind of pick up, because remember I said I got to think about what I want to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
And that was part of it. Once I started reading what it did, what it could do, things like that. You know me, when it comes to loot, the first thing I always got to think of is who would benefit the most from this.
Yeah.
Hydraulis,
yes. However, then I got down to the cost.
right?
And I am not one of those people that's like, oh, I'm going to keep all the loot for myself. That's not fair. As as the appointed quartermaster for the group, I don't immediately jump at, oh, I'm going to keep everything. Like I said, I always try to think of who's going to benefit from it the most, and I try to make sure that people get loot that's going to get them a good benefit. I don't know that I want to subject everybody to, or anybody else in the party to, the cost with the ring.
To be fair, though, go ahead. Sorry.
I will say when I was making this item, I wanted it to be really good. Like I wanted the upside to be like, this is a really good item. But due to the nature in which this ring was altered was traumatic. This was not a pleasant thing that happened. So I wanted there to be a downside. Now, not something major that you're going to be like, okay, clearly the downsides are worse than the upside.
Right.
But I wanted it to be something that's like, hey, and that's why it's like, it's only 1d6 psychic damage, and anything is just till the end of your current turn.
Right.
So even that, that's not good, but it's not major.
Well, hear me out, okay? This is my argument for Hydralis, and Grim, I want you in on this conversation, because I feel like Hydralis should take that upon himself as recompense, and he could take on that, like, so, from everything that happened during that battle, him killing that guy, and like screwing up everything, the balance within him and everything like that, and failing his oath or whatever, I feel like that he could use that. First of all, that'd be one horrendous attack if he came straight down and attacked from the sky like that. Holy cow. And to be able to heal around you like that is awesome too. So that could be anybody. But I think he should take it on because of that deeper connection, and he's the one that's stuck in that room. Him and Wolf. They stuck in that room and stuck it out. We ran like little, whats. Like, nope, I'm out of here. I just wish I'd have ran all the way out, but whatever. So that being said, that's what I think. Now I know Raven will have something to say about it, like to counter it probably, or give, not really counter it, but kind of give more depth to it. So I want to hear what he has to say. But first, before that, Grim, what do you think about what I just said?
I'm a little confused. What do you mean by recompense?
It's not so much recompense, but it's like, so the way you killed the guy, and I know you don't, I know you do it again, but what I'm saying is that, like, everything that went down in that battle and everything that you went through and what we talked about and stuff like that, I feel like you wearing that ring would take on that suffering for anybody else, and it's not that much of a suffering ring, to be honest. So but I think that the upsides of that would benefit your character. To throw everything else aside, I think the upsides of that would benefit your character. Like, just the, as soon as you talked about the attack from the sky like that, like straight up, I was like, well, that's Grimm's character. Like, that's gotta be him, So who else has the power to pull that off, So that's what I mean when I say that you should have the ring. Everything else aside, like, I know you killed the guy and you jeopardized a lot of stuff. Thankfully, you got it back, but it's like you could wear that ring as, like, I don't know. I don't know. I just throw some stuff out there. What do you guys think? But yeah. So Grim.
I mean, it's not a bad idea, but again, the whole recompense thing is kind of what pushed me off from it. Because me losing my oath, that me almost dealing with the oath breaker, that was my comeuppance. That was
And it's not done yet. I mean, he's dealt with that, but that's his, penalty for it. But now, there's the rest of the world reacting to, he's no longer a paladin of Fluetta anymore. And I mean, the Feywild may not care But when you return to the material plane, I mean, he went, many times to Fluetta's temple. They are definitely going to notice a shift.
Yeah.
They're going to detect the power within him has changed and is not, merciful anymore.
Fair enough.
So,
Fair enough.
I mean,
so the one last thing I wanted to point out is like the thing you said about the child's pain that was caused. Like I feel like Grimm's character would take on that child's pain before any of us. That's the other thing. You know what I mean? Like he would bear that burden of dealing with the pain that he gets from the child that was drawn into that. You know what I mean?
yeah, but so to a certain extent, I mean, so like when Blaze was looking and he was figuring out what happens, like he knows what roughly happens when you use the item. So he would sense that when you use the Heavens Bound or Light of the Dying Star, there is a bit of a backlash. But it wouldn't be like
specific.
When he's identifying it, he's reading it like off a piece of paper. It's like,
It's not like a certificate of providence.
Yeah, so he's gonna sense, hey, there's a bit of backlash, which would make sense to him based off of how this ring was amplified. Like, he's like, wow, that's a backlash. He's like, okay, well, yeah, that would make sense from how this item came about. But It wouldn't, like, he would know that if you fail to an extreme degree, that you're going to basically get a short glimpse of that moment of pain and torture and the desperate call for help. It's not like you would know that's going to happen.
That's true. I don't know. I guess I got more into that.
Like, I mean, if you're talking to me, like, as far as who would benefit the most, I on one hand, yes, I do agree with Raven that you look at who could benefit the most from this item. Now, there's several people. Pretty much anybody could benefit from this item because being under the constant effects of jump is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Being resistant to radiant damage. I mean, getting any resistance to any damage is amazing. Being able to do an AoE damage or an AoE heal is amazing for anybody.
You're dang right. That one's awesome.
Because it doesn't matter, because, it's once per short rest. It's not like you're going to be constantly doing it in battle all the time. Because, I mean, look at how many times you guys have actually taken a short rest. It may be used once a session.
But you're talking about
maybe twice if you're doing like a long running combat situation.
But you said 3d6, right? For the heal. That right there, that's pretty good. That's potentially 18 points of
Yeah, but so that's good now.
Right.
Yeah.
Later on, I mean, it won't be a lot, but the benefit to that will be all allies within 10 feet.
Right.
That's going to be the kicker. Is it's not just a one person. It's a, hey, let me give everybody just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other one, the radiant shockwave, it does damage. It's creatures within 10 feet. Allies as well. It doesn't matter. So if Hydraulis is up there in combat and he's got it and he does it and he does a radiant shockwave, and say you're standing next to him, you take the damage too.
Yeah, but what's the jump? Like, how far can you leap? It was like what?
It's 90 feet in any direction.
Correct. So he could like jump way ahead to.
Yeah, but it's when you land. So that's what I'm saying is he was jumping into combat.
Right.
Even if it was just I jumped 90 feet up in the air and then straight back down,
I was just thinking like a surprise jump attack into there, like as we see him, like go in there and we'll follow you as soon as you land.
I mean, yes. I mean, it's good for a lot of people. People that I would see and Raven, I'm sure you've probably thought of this that would be useful is obviously, like we've all said, Hydraulis could get use of this. Being a frontline fighter, having something that would let him get into combat quicker as a bonus action. I mean, it's a bonus action. Boom, jump 90 feet.
Right.
Move 30 feet, jump 90 feet. That's 120 feet of movement. And you can still attack after that.
Yeah. That's
so
flipping awesome.
I mean, exactly.
If it hits.
And that's not even saying that even if everybody makes the save and they're resistant to radiant damage or immune to it, and you do no damage at all, completely discounting the damage or healing. That's just a 90-foot of jump is amazing.
Yeah, and have him in there that quick would be great.
Yeah, but I mean, again, going with that same thing, if, any melee character could benefit from that. Any character that does melee combat,
you're not wrong,
could get the same benefit. I mean, and then there's just the general utility of it. If you're saying, okay, well, we're not going to use it for melee combat, the general utility of, hey, I can jump and heal or damage people, as the other benefits is, so trying to pick who to give it to would be very difficult.
So here, let me ask this, since I wanted to get back to him anyways. Raven, who do you think your choice would be to give it to?
I don't have one yet. That's what I was trying to say earlier.
Oh, I thought you did. So discussing it's good.
You all jumped into starting into the discussion. I was trying to explain my thought process behind why I'm holding on to it right at this moment and haven't put it on my finger.
Gotcha. I to be fair, I don't. Yes, I could benefit from using, but I don't think it would. To be honest, it's not for me. The question I do have for Zombie is how much is it worth?
It's not being sold.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way. This contains the power of basically a celestial being.
Mm-hmm.
And Blaze would have probably picked all them on the suit. It contains the power of a celestial being. Selling this would be an incredibly bad idea.
Yeah, probably.
And not only that, when the DM hands you a wondrous item at level 5, you do not get rid of it.
It's all because you went grave robbing.
If you wanted to give it to anybody, the proper person to give it to would be the child whose power made this ring.
Mm-hmm.
That would be because technically that's her power in this ring.
Mm-hmm.
It's technically her power.
Right.
Now, the fact that she didn't ask for it before she left either means she didn't know about it or doesn't care.
Yeah. It's just like a little whatever. It's just a little bit. It's no big deal.
So,
all right. So let me ask around the table then. Arson, you've been quiet. What do you think of the ring's possibilities? And I do want to get in on your marriage too. So,
do I get to finish?
Yeah. Sorry, Ray.
I still haven't had a chance to do that. It's not place.
My bad.
What's now that you've come back to me on it, and then you start off on a different tangent about it. Now, as I was saying, when you have an item such as this, and like I was saying, when we get loot, period, I have to weigh the benefits of I'm going to have to weigh who's going to get the most benefit out of the particular item. There have been some items that I cannot justify giving to anybody in the party that we've ended up selling because there's no benefit to any of it. So that's number one. And then as I was reading through it, and then as Zombie was saying, as I would figure out as I'm inspecting it, there's a cost. There's a price to this. Mm-hmm. The amount of the price, I don't necessarily know, but there is a cost to this. So that has to be taken into account when I'm laying this all out. Now, as I was saying before, 9 times out of 10, I don't always take loot, and I don't always take big loot. There are specific things that I'm looking for in a campaign, specific items that I know will benefit my character. Anything else, I don't really typically care about. So keep that in mind. Even this ring, even though it's a nice ring. So immediately my first thought was a melee character would be the most benefit to have this, because it does get them, like you were saying, it does get them into combat sooner. It does allow them to do damage. However, 90 feet is a lot of distance at this level. And not many of us can move 90 feet. Well, for example, Blaze can't move 90 feet, period. With a movement speed of 30, even if I dash, that's only 60 feet. I'm still 30 feet out of the fight after my turn is over. And if whatever melee character jumps in, they're on their own for 2 rounds at minimum. Okay. Now, granted, casters, we can reach. I don't have to move, and I can support. Ayla can support whoever goes in as well at range until the others get in. But you're still 30 feet-ish out of the fight at most. So that's one thing that has to be considered with that. The big thing, though, is the backlash. Even at this level, roughly we're at about 30 to 40 health points. Once per short rest, you take 1d6 psychic damage and must make a DC 14 wisdom save. So that's a big thing to take into account, is who's going to end up taking that damage the most. But I have to also consider on that as well. And do I really want to subject them to that? There's a lot in trying to, in my mind, that it has to be figured out of who's going to really end up getting this. Who would be good for it? Yeah, Hydralis would be a good one for it, because it would get him into the fight sooner, which he needs to be. As the Paladin, he's supposed to be our damage sponge. He needs to get into the fight sooner. We don't really have any other melee characters. Everybody else works at range. Occasionally, Ignis and Phoenix do get within melee range, but typically you guys are using your bows. And then, of course, I don't need to be as Blaze. I don't need to be in melee range. If I'm in melee range, something really bad happened. Ayla, she can get into melee. She should be okay, but she should still, not necessarily be there unless she wild shifts, and then all bets are off. Big ass bear. But regardless, so there's a lot to take into account with that. And there's a lot of, as Blaze is the only one that knows what the backlash is and what else is going on, there's a lot that weighs on him. The idea of, and see, this is where I disagree with you, Phoenix. The idea of Hydralis taking it on, outside of the benefit that it gives to him, the whole idea of the whole penance, taking it on as penance, I 100% completely disagree with. Because he's gotten his penance. He broke his oath to his god. Luckily, he got picked up by another one. But had the Oathbreakers gotten to him, that would have been very bad for him. He's already paid his penance, and he will continue to pay his penance. That part of it, I disagree with. The rest of it, where he would benefit from it, I 100% agree with.
Well, and see, I was just thinking, out loud, like different things we could do to throw into the story. And let me go back.
But that's not something that needs to be thrown into the story. He's already gotten his.
And that's why we talk here. But what I'm saying is like with the getting into battle faster, it's not like he's gonna, like, when has he ever had to jump 90 feet in front of us? We're usually like up there with him, and so we can reach most of so far we can reach most of the people we fought within 30 feet. So as long as he's 10 feet ahead of us, so it doesn't hit us, a little bit further than 10 feet, that's all he has to do to hit that, right?
So far.
Right. So as long as we're back, if it's coordinated, especially. So if I can get in there and like take a look around and be like, hey, I see bad guys. We could coordinate this. Let's all line up, get over here, and then just hop in and do it. And Like that is what I'm thinking would be beneficial. So,
And ultimately, too, part of the thing that goes into the decision is do we hang on to it or do we get rid of it? Because like Zombie said, this is part of that little girl's power. We are eventually going back to the material plane. We could eventually find her and give it back to her too.
but to be fair,
Not
how much
every
are
piece
we
of-
sure that we know it's the little girl's power, or if it comes from somewhere else? Does it say that? Does Blaze know this? Zombie, does he?
He knows how it was. He knows how it was forged.
Yeah.
I
All
mean,
right.
And so-
I'd say like he wouldn't know like beyond a shadow of a doubt. Oh yeah, this is her power.
Right.
But it was like you were all there. You all watched. It was like you realize we need something to store this power into. Otherwise, the Fey Wild Planet is just going to go supernova, and just like ring of jumping slip, you know, and the ring of jumping started glowing and absorbing the power. So it's kind of like 2 + 2 = 4, but you don't see like the plus sign. So you
Right.
see 2 blank 2 = 4, and you're like, well, I'm assuming that's a 2.
Right.
But I don't actually see the plus sign.
Right.
But I'm like 95% sure it's a plus sign. It's that type of situation. Like you're all pretty much under the same assumption that's like, look, we pretty much all know what happened. That yes, this is most likely her power, but none of you can see the shifts of stellar energy as they flow from one entity to another, and
Right.
you can't. You can't see
I'm a
that.
god. What are you talking about?
Then this was super god level stuff. So
right.
Okay. It's one above that. Got it.
All right.
Yeah,
So
gotcha.
let's go to the married man, and I want to ask his thoughts on the ring as well, before getting into anything else. So, what are your thoughts on the ring, Arson?
It's kind of an afterthought. I mean, again, Blaze right now is the only one who really knows what's going on with it. And even then, like when Ignis had it in his pouch, like when he asked for it, it was just an afterthought. Like, oh, right, I still have the ring. He never even thought like, well, maybe at any second I could probably explode into cosmic dust or something. But like, no, yeah, he just like asked for the ring. He's like, oh, right, I still have that. I didn't think about, well, maybe it has some adverse like, of course, obviously something happened to it. I was the one who followed his instructions on how to do the thing,
Yeah.
and it was just like, yeah, I have the ring. I didn't think it would be this powerful, obviously, but yeah, I just gave it to him, and what it is what it is. Whatever he does with it, like I'm with him.
Okay. I mean, and in story, I am too. But I'm going to throw out there what I think. If he decides to give it to you, I will be okay with that. If he decides to give it to Wolf, and speaking of Wolf, Wolf, what do you think of the ring of, one ring to rule them all?
Ooh. It has now become the One Ring. That is its name
It's
now.
becoming One Ring. um, some benefits to it, yes, but also, like they said, we don't have very many melee people.
Yeah, now that
Yes,
I
there
just
is that
leveled
mass
up.
healing
Oh yeah.
too.
Well,
So
now that
maybe.
I just leveled up, I will be able to shoot right in front of somebody with my bow. I do know that's coming. Because I told Zombie when I hit level 5, I am going to take on that. So I can not have to switch weapons and just shoot there. So anyways, oh sorry. Go ahead. Wolf.
No, that was pretty much it. Since we don't have very many melee people, there's not much use to the whole jumping part of it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's shift gears a little bit then. We've been talking about this ring for a really big part.
The whole episode.
The whole episode. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of stuff that we can unpack in this. Because my choices that I'm making with me trying to get my perception back, is not going to lead to you guys moving there. And I know that. I've already said that. That's why I chose another path with that. And, my hope is that my friends, well, my party, soon to be friends, hopefully, will help me once I actually try to get closer. I hope Hydralis is going to help me, which that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to talk more about that, but it didn't get out all the way into, so which is fine. We could talk about it another time. But I do want to speak about two things before we end this episode. The wedding and that whole thing that happened with Hydralis, and the whole thing about that being saying that Wolf could help him with things and stuff like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
Old Death.
Yeah. Old. Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost broke the contract. No.
Yep.
But anyways, this is still from the ashes. But anyways, so let's talk about the wedding for a minute. How's it feel to be married, Arson?
Oh well, I mean, again, it's just by contract. We're not really. Again, there's nothing there.
Not
We're
yet,
kinda...
though.
Man,
Is there?
She's gonna be in for a rough patch then.
I mean, she's a 14. By human standards, wow. So I'm just saying,
Ignis isn't exactly the most open partner right now.
that's true. So are you just gonna, like, when we get back, I know you've got some decisions to make, but are you just gonna drop her like a bad habit, or are you gonna be like, there's a chance there, but I need some time away. I need to adventure. We.
Were you like my foreman, just laying out the options?
I'm setting up your dating profile, man. Come on. Tinder, here comes Ignis. No.
No. I mean,
but,
okay. First of all, yeah, I'm not going to just straight up like once we get back, just like, okay, bye.
Mic drop later.
Like that.
See you later.
Bye. Yeah. Again, the whole thing with her and her brother, it hit a soft spot for him. So he kind of just does feel obliged to like look after her for now. Like obviously, if we the future isn't set in stone. All right. So obviously anything is possible. But like right now, like yeah, it's like I'm not gonna be like, okay, well, did what I had to do. Goodbye. But also I'm just gonna like, well, we'll see what happens. I guess this is just something that's like obviously we have to get back home first of all. That's priority number one. So before that happens, who knows if we'll bond or if something will happen? Because obviously,
alone time.
I still need to patch things up with Hydralis. The homies come first.
Yeah, bros before wives. Yep, that's exactly right. So,
Nope.
so, but
Nope.
but just hear me out on this, Arson. What if you go to the party and say, let's go destroy everybody that is, like that her brother is tied to, just so we can get him out of there?
I'm just gonna stop you right there. That's a whole different can of worms. For one, we don't know exactly who he's tied to, and for second, that is an entire lineage we're talking about. That's we just go in and like, I don't know, suffocate him with a pillow and then be done with it.
We destroy all of them.
Like probably Hydralis would be with me. Like
I mean, we're talking about wiping out basically an entire bloodline, every man, woman, and child.
Yeah. So I think Zombie did this to deter us from trying to actually go that path to free him.
It's one option.
I mean, look, like I said, nothing is beyond attempting.
Yeah.
If you can go back and ask him and say, hey, who holds your contract? And depending upon how you do it, he might tell you. And you could try to go and say, hey, can we, we want this man freed. I'm not saying you can't go talk to him.
Yeah.
Or her, or it, or them, or
Yeah.
whatever. But it's like everything else. I present you with numerous things you can do. The mantles and things you choose to pick up are solely on your lap.
I mean, fair enough. I just like to throw things out there to see the reaction. And to be fair, I don't know this guy from Adam, so I can care less. And in honesty, if it involved like killing his lineage, including kids, Hydralis would be out. So
Well, yeah, it's just a slippery slope. But like, I mean, it's like zombies. There could be other ways. I mean, like, who knows where our paths will take us later on, and we'll probably get some insane, like, maybe we'll get some insane benefits, like a one-time deal or offer. I don't know how overpowered Wish is. It's like what, 14 level, something like that. Wish, or I forgot what the overcomplicated, overpowered spells are. I don't even want to touch him if I'm being honest, but there could be other ways to like freeing the guy without having to genocide an entire lineage. But like as for the marriage, like again, it just happened. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like right now, we need to get home after we're done here. So what happens, and
all right.
that's
Yeah. All right, Grim. So I have one question for you, real quick. What if
What's up?
What if Hydralis decided to leave the group when we got back? Would there be a chance that you would pick up being Ignis's wife?
Okay. So I just want to say this. I just want to say this. Like before we even knew all of this stuff, right? I straight up like I was talking to Arson and I was like, look, if everything goes down the way I think it is, and this person isn't cool, I'm just gonna kill her and eat her. That was my plan. I was like, if she turns out to be a bad person, I get free food, I guess. I don't know.
I thought that you were talking to Arson about actually doing what I just said, and I was like, no way, shut up. Like, seriously?
No. Nope. Because again, Hydralis still, like, no one's told Hydralis that Ignis is married, so he's gonna see her, like, walk up with him, and he's gonna be like, who's this?
Dude, we're sitting at the table.
I mean, that's something that nobody's, is like when Blaze and Ignis walk in, your sales with them.
Yeah, and we don't know anything about this.
Yeah,
the episode kind of ended abruptly before we could really get into it.
I know, but,
yeah. We had to finish up quick.
That kind of thing is, she walked in with them, and, so.
Yeah. So that'll be the next, we won't have to deal with that for 2 weeks. All right. So finally, before we end, because we're past the mark that I've tried to set for ourselves with this, I want to talk to Wolf and Grim about their whole situation. That I want to know more about Wolf's character, like now, outside, to because what really struck my interest was this whole thing with this person. Old person.
Old F.
Old, yeah, that's it. But things that they said about Ayla interest me. And I need to know, without like too much of a spoiler.
Oh, are you referring to the comment that Oldath made about if you're looking for someone to teach you, you have somebody sitting right next to you?
Correct. That is the exact one.
Okay.
So if you could give it away without spoiling it, and I definitely want Wolf in on this.
I was like, I want to know if Wolf understood what she meant.
I'm going to go with it's because I'm a druid and it's in regards to nature and all that.
Correct. So, high level, basically,
you get the gold star.
Yes.
You get a gold star, and one gold star you can, when you get 100 gold stars, you can trade in for a platinum star.
Yay.
When
And
you
you
get 100, when you get 100 platinum stars, I'll give you $1.
and a fake cookie.
Okay, I don't want a fake cookie.
No, hey, no cookie, just $1.
Oh,
Just $1.
cookie
US
takes more.
currency,
Phoenix is
$1.
offering the cookie.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
I
you
don't-
want to take a fake cookie from Phoenix, go right ahead.
I don't have
No.
a recipe for fake cookies. Sorry.
But
You trust the Fae too much.
back to what so kind of high level of what all transpired is you all know that in several episodes ago, Hydralis had issues with becoming bestial.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Hydralis, if you don't want me sharing this, just feel free to
No, you're fine.
interject. Well, I figured it's your character. If you don't want me, kind of giving some high level stuff. So
Nope,
he
that's perfectly
came to me and wanted to talk about a way to work with that. And so we sat down at one point and we had a little session where he basically went and spoke to Fluetta and nature, because that's the two forces that he's dealing with. So who's goddess Fluetta and the elemental spirit of nature.
Yeah.
And they basically said, look, neither one of us are mad at the present moment in time, but you need to make a choice. One of the two of us, and right now, none of us are going to be mad, but you need to make a choice. And they said, go out, talk to our heralds. And he went out, he spoke to Oldath, the herald of nature, and the herald for Fluetta. He spoke to both of them. Well, he said, well, there has to be a way to fuse the two, to bring the two into some type of balance. So the herald of Fluetta said, well, there's only one being that is powerful enough to make that happen.
Galactus.
Darkness.
Oh, okay.
Darkness in the cosmology is the oldest and most powerful spirit or being on this plane, for this plane of existence.
So this whole thing was planned. Like you actually thought this through and planned it. It just didn't pop up.
Oh, we've worked.
Interesting.
We've worked on this for weeks.
I had
this has
no
been,
idea. No idea.
Being built up and changing as he gets different ideas and stuff like that. And
That's excellent, actually.
so that's when he approached me and said, hey, here's what I'd like to do for the climactic battle of when we're facing off on this cultist. And it's like I said, it's like you present me with what you want to do. And then, it goes for anybody. You present me with what you want to do with your character, and I will walk you through how we can fit it into the setting.
Well, that's cool.
And when he did that and broke his oath, he broke his oath with Fluetta, and he broke, because Darkness said, hey, if you're going to work with me, then you're going to work with me. And do you remember when you guys were in the cave dealing with the cultists, and he put his face up to that thing and it made him go blind for a few rounds?
Yes.
That was a test by Darkness to see, is he willing to plunge himself into darkness to make this all happen?
That makes sense.
When he broke his oath, he didn't just break with Fluetta, he broke it with Darkness as well.
Man, I'm impressed with your guys's
So that's why Oldath said Fluetta and Darkness are not really happy with you right now, with the way things turned out. So that's kind of high level what's going on, and why she said, hey, at the end, if you're needing someone to walk you through some things of nature, you have a druid right next to you.
So
who is very skilled and knowledgeable about the ways of nature.
So it technically didn't mean anything about like Ayla as a character. It just meant just being a druid of nature, and all this stuff.
I mean,
so okay,
if you had been a druid and been next to him, it would have been you. It was more the druid than the character herself.
That's interesting because the choices made today was Wolf's choice to go with him instead of going a separate. I mean, I'm sure you would have still pointed out like you have a druid in your party you can go to, but it made it easier because Wolf went with Hydralis. I thought that's really cool how this all came together. I'm just saying. So, any final thoughts before we go, guys? None?
Nope.
Chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp.
Oh, you found it. He found his chicken.
Anyways, we've come to the end of our time.
So, I will say this real quick before we go. Just so you guys know, we do live D&D sessions on Sundays at 2 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern. If you want it, because this will air probably Saturday, so a day before. And so if you listen to this on Saturday and you get this far, and if you want to catch us live, come and hang out with us. The stuff will be in the description and all that stuff, and just click the link and go to the Phoenix channel to where that will be airing. Other than that, I want to thank you guys for being here. Tavern Talk, like it just went from being something in my head to just was going to be just Zombie and I chilling and talking about stuff and talking about our characters, which I need to get with Zombie sometime this week, which means there could be a Tavern Talk, off the cusp or whatever, to where
I did want to say one last thing. So I do have a final comment, Phoenix.
Okay.
So you were all caught in the explosion when the dagger was shattered, correct?
Crap. Why are you mentioning this now?
Two of you were closer. Now, fortunately, being closer had no effect. The effect it had on you is the following. You get to pick either the feat Fey touched or Shadow touched for free.
Yay! Sorry.
So giddy, man.
So you get to pick that for free outside of the normal character progression and feat allotments.
Sweet.
What do they do?
So
Quickly,
basically, they all basically say you have been exposed to the magic of the Feywild and it has altered you a little bit. You gain basically, you gain 2 spells. You can use it once per day, and you can increase one of your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma by 1.
3 perception.
Is that part of what I said?
No, it isn't. That's interesting. So they're both the same, pretty much. It's just different names for it. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
So they both increase. They say you can increase your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma by 1 to a maximum of 20. They both do that.
Okay.
However, Fey touched is you learn Misty Step and one other spell of your choice from either divination or enchantment. Shadow touched, you learn invisibility and one spell of your choice from either illusion or necromancy.
I feel like you know which one I'm going with.
I don't know. I mean, both Misty Step and illusion are very good.
Mm-hmm.
So we benefited from being touched by that stuff. That's amazing.
I'm just going to tell you, Misty Step is huge for a rogue.
Yes.
What if I already have Misty Step?
I mean, you can get it again. This would be an additional use outside of your spells. Yes, because now the other spell you pick, the way I'm interpreting it, is you can use either one of those only once.
Okay.
Huh.
it's not like you, okay, so say you did Fey Touched, and okay, I got Misty Step and Divination. I took Comprehend Languages. Well, it's not like you can cast one of those once a day. That's it.
That's
Not
interesting.
both of them once
Yeah.
a day. Now, if I'm wrong, then that's fine.
The way we play it, because I've got Shadow Touched. The way we play it on Friday night, not that it matters. You get one free cast without the spell slot, but then you could cast it again and burn a spell slot.
Okay, I mean that's fine.
That's cool too. So, all right, well, there we
It's a little
go.
OP, but
We will definitely be talking about this because I probably will do a live recording of myself and Zombie doing my updated sheet. And because let's face it, he's the one that upgrades me. If it ends up being Raven, then I'll still record. But
I'll
either way,
upgrade you, all right.
you're gonna upgrade me? Sweet. But okay, so nobody else has anything else to say, right? Wiener. Anyways, but yeah, so you guys have a great week, and we'll be back with Tavern Talk next week.
Don't miss the Mason stream.
Don't yeah, well, that's gonna be too late by then. This will air during the Mason stream. So if you're listening to this right now,
Tune over to the Mason stream.
tune over to the Mason stream because my dog Mason, who is the most important person, place, or thing in my life, has cancer again for the 4th time, and we are doing a benefit to try to raise money for his surgery. We're trying to reach a pretty nice goal. If we reach certain goals, I hear that Zombie may have to eat a really massive mound of meat.
Yeah.
And then Arson's going to be there the whole time. And there's going to be other things I'm going to figure out through the week. But one thing that's not happening is I'm not going to shave my beard like I thought I was, unless someone just throws down the amount like, hey, I'll give you this much to shave your beard now. I'm like, done. Right now.
My dignity can be bought.
Exactly. It's my dog. I would do anything for him. So, but on that
Give you
note,
5 gold pieces.
yeah, it better be delivered to me, and it better be real. But on that note, Tavern Talk is over, and look forward to some more changes in our aesthetics for Tavern Talk. I'm working on stuff. I'm trying to get some help with it, but it's a little difficult. But we'll get there. But for Wolf and Grim and Arson and Raven and Zombie, I am Phoenix. Have a great week, guys.
You forgot about Jed.
Oh, Jed!
He's still here.
He is
He's
here.
probably passed out in the corner somewhere, but he's here.
Hey, will you shake him for me? Well, on that note,
Why do you sound like he's dying?
because he drank too much. Well, on that note, we're going over, and I guess everybody in the tavern can start talking again. Well, actually, I don't have that set up on this screen. So, but thanks for watching,
left.
everybody. Yeah, they left. Well, they got mad because I yelled. But for everybody else watching, thanks for watching. Have a great week.
Later.